Have you ever wanted to add some terrain to your game board, but thought it was too complicated? If so, this video is going to be for you. Today is going to be scattered terrain for beginners. Hi guys, DM done. I'm going to show you guys how to easily make some scattered terrain to put on your game board no matter how big or elaborate your game is. If this is the first craft that you've ever done, don't be worried, don't be scared. This is going to be for you. So to start off, you can use whatever kind of foam you can find. You can get this bubbly style foam, which is what I initially started with that I got from Lowe's, or you can get like the pink or the blue foam that you can find at like the Lowe's and the Home Depot, which is a little bit more of the more advanced and better foam, but this would work as well and is a little bit less expensive. So depending on what kind of tools you have, you can either use your straight razor and just cut these, and you can use that. If you have a Proxxon hot wire cutter, you can use that as well. Or if you want to go ahead and just go with a simple, easy to use hot wire knife, you can use this as well. So this is what I'm going to use so that I can be here in the video for you guys versus using my Proxxon. And so we can just do it all right here. And it doesn't really matter kind of what size you want to start with, but we're going to try to, because we can always cut it down and make it smaller. So you just want to go ahead and start getting yourself a piece that you can work with. And you're just going to let the knife do the work for you as it just melts right through. And I'm pulling it kind of back and forward to get a fresh piece of the metal so that it'll actually just kind of cut right through it. And I don't want to cut my cutting mat, so I will do like that. And so now you've got yourself a piece. So I take a paper towel, fold it over a few times so I'm not burning myself, so that I can wipe the foam off without burning myself, and it's nice and clean. And now you've got a nice good sized piece. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and just roughly cut that in half again. And it's nice if you are in a well ventilated room so that you don't have any of these fumes. You can also wear a proper type of mask, but my room is quite big and ventilated, so I feel pretty safe. All right. So again, be careful not to burn yourself. Make sure this is folded over a few times and you go quickly. And so you have a few pieces here. Now, if you wanted to do layers, which is also nice so that you can have multiple different places for your miniatures or your players' miniatures to climb on, it's also really, really nice to do. So you can do a bunch of different things. You can go big, you can make them small. One of the things that if you're going to cut like maybe like a little like a little U out of it, you're gonna want to kind of go at an angle because a little bit of like the slope of the hill. So I'm gonna cut at a little bit of an angle right here, and just now I'm gonna start to kind of get a little bit like wobbly, a little jiggy biggy, and scoopy whoopy. These are all official terms. And pull that out just like that. Now, one thing that you're can do is you're gonna want to save this piece. So it was upside down like this, but now if you invert it, you've already got that slope, that same angle that you have here, and this can be an extra piece that adds on here, out on its own, on another section as well. So this is a piece that can be used again. What I will probably do now is I want the back slope to have that same kind of an angle. So I'm actually just going to kind of do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do something like that. And now I've already got a piece of scattered terrain that's already done. I mean, that's literally all that you have to do. And this could be a good piece right there. But I'm going to go ahead and try to make a little bit of a bigger one up here. Something maybe that can kind of go with it. something. And don't be afraid, you can't really do anything wrong with like the shape of your foam that you're doing. I don't like to have all of these little wispies. It's different than hot glue. This is hot foam. All right, so now you've got one side there. Maybe we want to go ahead and just cut that off. That looked a little bit too sharp for my liking. Here we go. And then we can come around and do something around this other side as well. And maybe we'll come all the way out here. And again, remember, you don't have to be perfectly smooth. Change the angle, the depth that we're doing. This is probably a little bit bigger than just like a small scatter terrain. But you can see all the different things that you can do. I'm going to go ahead and bring this all the way around, make me a little bit of a oblong shape there, and just meet my other side as well. So I can have a full big piece here that I can use. Alright, so now it's got that angle all the way around. Now I can use this piece on top and have it elevated right there. I can also use another big piece and make a bigger section in here. So layers are actually really good. And in fact, I think I'm actually going to kind of do that. So I want to make another pretty good sized piece here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of mark this like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and just cut me a weird little angle there. Make sure you don't get your fingers on the back side. Know how deep your tool is going so that you don't accidentally get yourself. And I want this edge to also be down, so I'm going to go ahead and go around this side as well. And just making it oblong because Mother Nature doesn't have a straight edge. She makes things a little weird. And so now, if I don't like the size of that, I can make it smaller or I can make it bigger. But I think I'm kind of liking that. And so that's like a multi-level tier right there that we can play with. And your miniatures, these are 1-inch squares, can actually climb up here and they can climb up here. So it's a little bit bigger than just like a general scatter terrain, but I'm going to go ahead and do this for display purposes so you guys can see it and so I can make it onto my game board as well. So I'm going to turn my knife off. I also want to unplug it and set it somewhere safe to dry or cool down. And so this is what we got. So now we're just going to smooth off all of the little wisps that we got. Not a big deal. Just pull it off with your fingers. This was not from the knife, so don't worry, I didn't cut myself from that. It's ingrown fingernail actually, like the cuticle on the side. So just wanted to make it look a little bit prettier for you guys. And just clean this edges off. And now that we've already got it cut, you don't have to worry about gluing it and then trying to cut the glue if you've already got the size and the shapes that you want. If you saw one of my other videos, crafting videos, I showed you some of the hills that I made, and they were multiple layers. And I glued them first and then cut them, so that little knife was actually cutting through the glue, and it was doing some little bit of some weird things. So you don't have to worry about that now because we've already done this first. So I think that looks pretty good. And you don't have to use any special super crazy glues or anything like that. you can actually just simply use, you know, your regular white school glue or your glue all or whatever you want to call it. And you can do it just like so. And just get you a nice clean covering of it. And then we can plop her right down where we want her. Bloop. Beautiful. And then we'll do the second one as well. And again, we're just going to blend this around so we can have the edges nice and good. And then we're just going to drop that on, bloop, like so. Now this type of glue is going to take some time for it to dry. It's not going to dry instantaneously, so we're not hopefully expecting that. Okay, so that's going to look really, really cool on our game table, but we're going to make a couple of extra things to make it look even better. So if you wanted to kick this up a few notches, a couple of things that you can do is one, you can add some wall compound, some spackling. You don't have to get this big of a one, but I had this one laying around, and I probably should have stirred it up. It's a little bit older. And you can use this to help kind of hide these edges, these connections, these seams, so they look more seamless. And it also will help in this example to hide some of the bubbles that you see on this type of foam. So again, it's nothing you can do wrong with this, because this is your creation and your project, so you're not getting graded on it, so don't worry about screwing it up. The grade that you will get is all the oohs and the ahs. That looks awesome when you go to put this on your game table. And you don't have to be just the dungeon master if you're building these. I've seen players that build this type of terrain, and they build it for their game master or their dungeon master. And you can just kind of, because this can be some generic stuff, right? But you can ask your dungeon masters, like, hey, is there any kind of specific terrain or something that's going to be coming up that that you might want me to try to make for you if they don't craft themselves? And they can say, yeah, make me some, like, you know, some little like rocky outcrops. And you're not going to know why or what's going to be in there, so it won't mess up your surprise either. So we've done those edges there, and then if you really wanted to, you could actually do a layer over like the whole thing. This is pretty wet. Ugh, I didn't stir it very well. And again, I'm using perfect tools, right? I just got my finger in there. But this will harden up, and it'll get rid of all those little circles that you see. So you, as it's foam right now, and so you won't see that foam later. So you can do as much or as little as this as you would like. Again, kind of have some fun with it, but it'll give you a little bit more realism if you're using especially this type of foam to kind of cover up and get rid of all of those little dots, because those dots tend to be a bit of a giveaway that, oh, that's foam. We will be painting this. I'll probably do that in a different video though, just so it'll take some time to dry, and I don't want this video to be twice as long for you guys. So we'll be editing some of this, I'm sure, out as well, so you're not watching me apply all of this. And if you guys are watching the channel and you like these videos, do me a favor, write some comments in the comment section underneath. And if you have recommendations of maybe some things that you guys would like to see, I'd love to see those as well, and we can try to help accommodate if there's something specific that you guys want to see. And plus, it's also nice to hear from you guys, even if it's just a hello, or hey, I liked that video, or I didn't like that video. That's fine too. We like to hear everything so we can try to get better and kind of get you the content that you guys do want to see. And a little bit more. Who said finger painting was a unnecessary craft when you were in elementary school? Look at that. Bam. All right. I think that looks pretty good. All right. There we go. So now there's going to be a couple more things that we can add while we're at this stage as well. So we're going to paint the whole thing. So we want to give it some more depth and some more texture. So what we can do is we can add a little bit of sand if we want to. And it'll dry in there as well. And that'll give it some more of that texture. A little bit more of that realism. And it'll take off some of that foam look to it as well. And this sand is just whatever sand you can find, however you can find it. We got sand and paid for it to go into my kids' sandbox in the backyard. So I was like, hey, I paid for it already. I'm stealing some of it. Shoot, they got so much that comes out of their socks and lands all over my carpet that we have to vacuum up and throw away. I don't think they'd miss that little baby jar worth of it. And bada bing, bada boom. Now it's not going to look like the sand color because we will be painting over it, but it's going to give it that texture. And then the sand will allow us to do a thing called dry brushing, which is a painting technique to where we can get different depth from the paint visually on the stones. And you saw me use some of these stones in another video if you watched all my videos. So these are just a little bit bigger stones. And I got these at the Dollar Tree, I believe, for that bag. And then we can put some of these in as well too. So maybe put just a little drop of glue for this guy since he's a little bit bigger. Bloop. And just random. Doesn't matter kind of where you put them, it's just wherever you think. It's just going to change the size of what's going on here and there, which is kind of nice. Bloop. And this glue is going to dry clear as well, so you don't have to worry about that. And right here. Definitely keep some areas open that are flat where your 1-inch bases for your minis or your players' minis can still get on there. Because you want to make this playable. And this is small enough that we can pretty much guess, even if you use a grid, you know, where those squares or hexes are going to be. And especially if you're playing on a battle mat, that you'll already see the squares, and you can just kind of guesstimate using the lines where those are intersecting. So you don't have to necessarily grid these as well. You can if you want, but I like to just not grid these if I can, if they're small enough, because then you don't have to worry about trying to line it up perfectly whenever you do set it on your game board or on your battle mat. Alright, so I'm just going to do a couple more of these so that we're not sitting here doing this all night. But I think you guys kind of get the idea of how cool this can actually be. So I'm going to do a few more of these after I turn off the camera, but this is going to be video 1, and now this is kind of how you can make it. You can make different versions as well, different sizes. You could just do the 2 small ones that we did, and that's also nice because you don't always want everything big. Make 2 of the small ones that was on top of each other. However, make the ledge of the first one big enough that a mini can sit on the outside of that, so they can like climb their way up. And so that's really nice. So I'm gonna show you guys in another video how to paint this and take it to the next level. So do us a great big favor. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like, the subscribe buttons. You can also help us out if you're ever going to buy anything from Amazon. Use our affiliate link, which you can find in the description below the video as well. And then we'll get credit for sending you guys over there, and it really helps us out. You can also help us out by becoming a Patreon, which is just a monthly donation to help us out, whether it's $1, $3, $10, whatever it is. That really goes a long way to help us out, so we really do appreciate it. And until next time, have more D&D fun with DM Done.